I'm excited you get to meet my brother.
I'm excited too. Do you look like you?
You'll have to tell me if you think so.
What's the age difference?
2 years.
Oh, that's right. 18 months?
27 months. He was 18 months old when my dad died.
Okay.
So yeah, we're 27 months apart, and Tyler and Micah are 27 months apart. So I remember the night, because I'm a numbers person and a date person, and so I remember we were living in our old house and they slept in the same room. And I remember the night that they would have been the exact age that Michael and I were when my dad died. And like, yeah, just a new understanding. No, just a new level of what my mom, like thinking about having kids that age. She had been diagnosed with MS 6 months before. She was 31. My dad was 30. Like, wow. Yeah. Everyone has their story, don't they?
Sure do.
Mm-hmm.
Their shoes are always, seems like they're more challenging than ours.
Until.
Yep.
Yep.
So what's the outcome of this? What's the audience? What's the desire at the end of this? When this is over, we want people to do what?
So my intention when I asked Michael is he's hosting an event, like an informational event for a couple hours on Sunday at one of our coffee shops. Which I was talking to my mom this morning. I'm like, we could have had it at my office because that would have given me some exposure, but Michael's never been here since I've had my office. So I mean this office. So so that was the intention, was to, what is Break Free? Local people, there's an event that you can come check it out.
Is that the name of it, Break Free?
Mm-hmm. You know, or hip hop for Jesus or whatever you want to do.
Hip hop for Jova.
Jehovah Jireh.
There you go. I'm big on the Bible.
You're fine. I just grew up singing the songs.
So remember, did you have to change the privacy on your page? What was it yesterday? Because we were live when you clicked live.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So get ready to do that.
Can I do that now, or do I have to do that?
You gotta wait till it goes live. Okay. So if you go on your phone or wherever, open another tab, but this way here that it's, because that was 1:28 seconds before we, and that's okay, but the recording is all there live. It's just what was live was live.
Right. So I figured out the feedback or the whatever I'm trying to say. It's because I had to mute my Facebook, mute my Facebook, mute my Zoom, mute Facebook.
Mute Facebook.
I'll do it better this time.
Okay.
Do you want me to tag you when I do lives with you?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. What other fun things was I going to tell you? There was more.
You should have Michael Swalley.
There he is.
Okay. I'm going to make you host now. Hostess with the mostest. What a handsome stud.
Hey, Sean. Hey, Amber. Hey.
How you doing?
All right. Good. Yes.
I don't think I've actually seen your face for like a year.
I know. A year maybe? Yeah.
Wow. How awesome.
Yes. So it's good to see you. And yeah, Sean, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
For jumping in and join. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, this is fun. And you know, each of us have certain skills, and mine definitely wouldn't be, teaching kids how to hip hop. So
Oh, okay. So
I do other things well.
well, good. Yes. Yeah.
So at the end of this, Michael,
Yeah.
and is it Michael or Mike?
Michael.
Okay, Michael. So at
Michael's
the end
good,
of
yeah.
this, Michael, when this is over and people see it, what's the thing you want them to do? What's the feeling you want them to have? What do you want them to do? Because we're not Google, so we're not here just for info. We want people to
Right.
take action. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So what I want people to feel, Sean, is really two things. One is the importance of, being known in community, right? And the foundational, right, community of that is the family. And it's,
Okay.
how am I known? How am I furthering, right, that idea, right, into my own life and into the world? Am I known, and how am I really moving that forward? And then two, like you said, it's not that, hey, I need to go start a hip hop ministry or be a part of a hip hop ministry, but how can I creatively use my gifts and skills, right, that God has given me in order to be able to further that, in order to make other people feel known and that. So how can I creatively use what's been given to me in order to further that? So those two things.
And how did dance come into your life?
Yeah. So, where Amber and I grew up, I laughed because, in the small town Minnesota, it's not the hip hop capital of the world by any
No.
stretch, right? I mean, can you believe it? Sean, really quick, Sean, where are you at? We're
Population 212, Shirley, Arkansas.
okay. All right. So
By
even
way
more.
of Dallas, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
okay.
18
Yeah.
years in Dallas. So
18. Okay.
I know what it's
Yes.
like to drive 4 minutes and have everything you want. And now
Yes.
I know
Okay.
what it's like to not have to do that.
That's right. But really for me, Sean, it was, so my life story of, growing up in a single parent home, but then also having a very dynamic church community and community around us as family, and, great family around us. Growing up with that as part of my story, and loving athletics. When I was at college, I just, growing up in the 80s, I was familiar with breakdancing. Saw some guys doing it. I thought that's a fun athletic outlet. I'll try that. And then once I was I was living in Melbourne, Australia for a little while, around the actual hip hop community. I was around other breakdancers. I saw them and I could engage them because I was a breakdancer. I could go and engage their lives and their stories. Their stories were very similar to mine, coming from, whether it be single parent homes, coming from broken families, generationally seeing this, they are repeating the process, but without any kind of real gospel voice, any kind of healthy church family in their life. That for me then became, what I saw as my calling, was that, hey, we can give a different vision to these men. So I love breakdancing, right? And I love hip hop, but at the heart of everything I do is this passion, to see God restore the family, both the spiritual and the nuclear family. And breaking is, and I didn't know this at first, and hip hop is actually a really effective way to do this because we have immediate access to hundreds of men in every major city around the world. It's a very relational community. And so to be able to gather together, there's already gathering spots. And so we can go in and meet these guys right where they're at. And then do that. So that was how dancing came into it. And I still dance. My wife wonders, like, Ellen, she's like, how much longer? You're 43. And like, hey, as long as I can, I'll keep going. But that's the story behind it.
What's the age range?
Yeah, I would say our guy is 28. That's who we're reaching. So it's anywhere from lower 20s up into the lower 40s.
Okay.
But our main guy is 28 to 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you provide the cardboard?
If we need to. Which is still a great surface to this day, I will say. They haven't improved much on cardboard, which is kind of funny. Yes.
Is there anything you would like me to bring out particularly? Anything to address to a point?
And that's a good question. So I guess kind of my question back to that, and Amber, this may be more to you. is your thought of doing the Facebook lives? Like who is our audience? Like what, you know, because I know I'm coming into Alexandria this weekend. Was your thought, hey, this is more of a, my brother's going to be in Alexandria, like come there, or is this more broad audience?
So when I suggested doing a Facebook Live and interviewing you, because that's part of my homework working with this guy over here.
Yes, I like it.
And I've seen the impact that this has. It was for us to jump on and talk about this weekend. Having Sean here, this amazing opportunity for you, Michael, because yeah, Sean could wow you with the names that he's interviewed in his decades of, I mean, couple decades of this. I would say both. I would say you're looking at spotlighting this weekend. So for local people who are here and broad, because I can tag you and Sean will allow us to tag him in this, and you're going to reach a lot of people. So.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, yeah.
One last, well, not one last question, but who's made a difference for you, or who is an example of the ministry that you would like to do a shout out? Tell a story. Don't need to mention their name. I don't know whether you'd want to or not, but so who's somebody you can give some recognition to? Be shocked that you haven't forgotten them.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, there's a lot. And Sean, my mind really immediately goes to the people in Alexandria, right? Where I'm going back to, where this is a kind of ministry that does not make sense, at least up front, right? This isn't on the, you know, the radar of those, but there's a group of, and I would just say couples, but I'll highlight men. There's a group of men, 3 men who have supported, have been with us in, you know, in kind of this unknown ministry, and have shown me what mentorship really is. You know, so it's being walking with somebody, being in their life. And so I think, you know, the story I would share would be, and I know we don't have to name names, but going over to Steve and Linda Lovren's house, sitting, having a meal with them, and then sitting by their fireplace for hours and just casting vision of what this would be. And again, Steve and Linda probably have never interacted within the hip hop community, but they're sitting there and they're encouraging, they're helping me cast vision. They're saying, this is what it could look like.
I would mention them if you don't think, I mean, because here's the thing, you have an opportunity to not brag on them, right? Because the common enemy is me as the interviewer. So it's not you going, well, yeah, we don't need that. When I ask it and you go, you know, there's this one particular couple, and it's a pull as opposed to a push, right? Because people receive differently, right? What you do pulls people in because of the vibration. It gets into their cells and it moves them, and there's a certain energy. Wallace D. Waddle says it's not about doing certain things, hip hop, dance, break. It's about doing things in a certain way, doing it in the, and that's what changes everything. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Then I'll definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're going home, and why not let the people home know that, you know, you actually did live there for a while. Right. Yes. I was there. It was a long time ago. 25 years I left. Wow. Yes. I love it. Yeah. All right. I'm good. So great. Amber, we're ready to go, and I'll let you do a little intro, Amber. And when it says going live, we're going live. So we can just start chatting. How do you want me? How do you want me to do an intro? Just when you start, go ahead and start it, and then just say, we're live, and I'll just do what I do, and I'll make you look great and feel good. And so you want me to say we're live? All right, here we go. Got my more buttons. You see her swallow there, Michael? She's about stop it. About to go. Nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair. Fact. Stop it. Do you put a description right away, Sean? Yeah. Should I no. Okay. No. Look at your brother. That's description enough. Geez, I feel like a potato sandwich over here. All right, we're live. We're live. Yes. Hey. So Amber, I'm so excited to meet more of the family. What are we going to be doing this morning, Amber? You get to be talking with my amazing brother, Michael Swalley. Well, thank you. Who I get to see in just a couple days. Yes, very excited. Michael, where are you right now?
So I'm in Colorado Springs,
Oh, wow.
and my family and I have lived here for a little over 3 years, but I'm from the great state of Minnesota, the incredible city of Alexandria, who we would say is the birthplace of America. The Smithsonian maybe disagrees, but we hold true to that. And I get to go back home this weekend.
Well, folks, I have the privilege and honor of introducing this amazing young brother, this incredible soul who's taken on a mission and taken people on a journey of both of introspection, extroverting themselves, and dance and a variety of things. And so we're going to have a little conversation about what it means to truly dance your life into the calling. So, Michael, it's great to meet you.
Sean, you too, and I love that. I might take that. Dance your life into your calling. That's awesome.
Hey, listen, we're just getting warmed up, baby. I'll knock the rest off. We'll get better. So you've traveled the world doing dance. How did this? Let's go back to Alexandria.
Sure.
And you started off, right? Did you come out of the womb dancing? How did this?
Maybe, right? Maybe that was just in my blood, because Sean is we look back, believe it or not, Alexandria, Minnesota is not the breakdance capital of the world. Hip hop is not running through its veins, but growing up in the 80s, right? I was familiar with breakdancing and knew of it. But it wasn't really until college where I saw other breakdancers and I saw the athleticism and the dynamics of it, and it drew me in really for those reasons alone. And so because of that, I just started learning, started picking it up, and started really enjoying the dance itself. So now, I never thought it'd be a calling. Though.
That's where I was going. Where did the transition happen from dancing? Right. Because, there's, for those of us that aren't in the flow, right?
Yes.
So now here we go. I'm in the
flow. There you go.
So now it's not typically what you would think of faith-based.
Right.
Culture-based, community-based, absolutely.
Yes.
Where did the transition happen to go into faith-based? Because it is such a specialty. Do you develop an affinity towards this very tight-knit community? How did God weave its way in there?
Sure. And that's a big part of my life story, though, right? And so really, growing up, I saw the importance of family. Family was very important, both the nuclear family, both in the good and the bad, right? So my sister and I grew up in a single parent home. We had a mom who struggles with MS. So from a very early age, we saw both the physical, the emotional, the struggles that you can have in family. But at the same time, we had an incredible extended family and a very dynamic church family in our life. And so as we heard the importance of community, as we heard about the love of God through the gospel of Jesus in our home, these same people were, helping us mow our lawn, helping with bills, fixing our cars. So this was very much a practical and dynamic thing in our lives. And so from the very start, Sean, I saw that the importance of family, how God had designed family to be the place to be known and loved. And that's the heart of the gospel, is that you're fully known in all your messiness and you're fully loved. I mean, what an incredible message. And so that was weaved into my heart at a very early age. And so now we fast forward, and as I'm starting to pick up breakdancing at college, I am not connecting these two at all. And I'm looking at going into accounting. I love Excel. I want to do numbers, right? And so God flipped it on me, though. It wasn't until I was living in Melbourne, Australia, for a few months, and was at a local YMCA working out. And I saw a group of about 20 men in their 20s and 30s in the corner of a gym, and they were breakdancing. And I thought, hey, I do that. I'll just go, jump in and join them. And Sean, over the next few months, I heard their stories, though. And their stories really resonated with me. One, because their stories consisted of broken families. And for them, it was generational and really a lot of deep father wounding. And I heard these stories, and that they were repeating this process, right? That they too now in their 20s and 30s were starting to repeat that process of broken families. And also, unlike me, they didn't have this dynamic church community, didn't have these gospel voices in their life. And so God started to prick my heart, Sean, and it took a while, right? It took a while to move from accounting to a hip hop ministry. but over those months, he started to show me that these men need a voice in their lives. These men need what you had. They need to know and experience family. If we want to see generational change, if we want people to really step into their purpose, right? Like you said, dancing into your calling. How do we know our calling and our purpose? Well, one, it's able to be known, right, in community. It's able to be known in that and have the freedom to explore, the freedom to even fail, the freedom to move out into things and to know that you're loved, to know that you're secure. And that allows you then to figure out that calling. So Sean, that was how it really started. And that was in 2004. Wow. 2004 in Melbourne, Australia is where that started going. Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing. From my background, the fastest way to get somebody to make a shift, to change an identity, not just to change a story, is three things: physiology, focus, language, and meaning. And what this does is the physiology of the dance. If you hear a good tune, even if you're not necessarily when they pull up to you next to you in the car and this music's going and you're like, that's a little too loud, but your foot still taps.
Yes.
Right? So what I love is the identity that you help people through, the identity of the old story, because if I feel broken, I'm not up for going for a walk.
It's good.
Right?
Right.
If I feel broken, I don't want anybody to know I'm broken. But you get a bunch of winged souls together who can really start to fly. I love this idea. I mean, Amber and I were kidding, right? Hip hop for Jesus. It's like, no, it's right. It's this ministry of giving people a chance to be seen.
It is.
And I love that your target is in that 28-year-old who they might be a dad, and it's, you say the things are repeating. So somebody reaches out to you and they DM you. What's the question they're going to ask? What's the thing they're afraid to ask that you would want to say, just reach out to me and ask me this question. Let's chat.
Yeah. So I think one of the questions that people ask, it's almost like a realization of, wait, so I can do something like this. Like I can, so whether it's someone in the hip hop community who may feel a divide in their faith and in their identity, it's wait, so I can see this marriage of both, and to see both really influence. Yes, right. You can, and let's talk and let's envision what that could look like. Or even wait, so I can follow a calling, right? And maybe somewhat unorthodox, something I even love, right? I think sometimes, and I've felt this, there's almost sometimes a guilt of like, well, I love this, but then I have to really grind at what I'm, supposed to do. But to see, no, you were made for these things. And we can think together on what that could look like moving forward, right? And both for you and for the benefit of others, right? Because this, for you to be able to walk in what you're called to do, to walk in your calling, in your identity, that's also going to benefit others. We are made for that. Right? We are made for that. So though that is usually the question that we get. And that's what we try to help and walk people through.
I love it. You were telling me earlier about when you were younger and fireside chats. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So I tell you what, Sean and Amber, the number of people that God has brought along my way to encourage this process, because I've needed a lot of it and need more today, right? It's like every day. I need that. There's a lot of people in Alexandria that have encouraged, and that's why I love going back to it to celebrate with them. But I remember a conversation with Steve and Linda Lovren, and they've been Sunday school teachers. We met them when we first got to our church when I was 8 years old. They've taught me and they've been with me all through these years. And we were sitting in their house, had dinner, and then sat by their fireplace. And I remember this very specifically. And I was sharing with them this vision. I had come back from Australia, and I was sharing with them this vision of a hip hop ministry. And instead of saying, well, Michael, we've never seen that before, we've never really heard of that before, accounting seems more secure, I think you should do that. That makes more sense. They sat, they listened, and they dreamt with me. Mike, can you imagine, right? Bible studies with these men. Can you imagine them being known, right, in their own community, you going to their practice spots and starting to build a new vision into their lives. And they sat and dreamt with me, and instead of trying to go to where they understood, right? Because again, hip hop wasn't something they understood, but they knew and they loved me. They had walked with me for years and they really encouraged me. And so I get to go back, 18 years after that with this vision actually happening all over the world, all over the world. And so, and Steve and Linda, I mean, have been a huge encouragement. And there have been many other couples like that too.
So from Alexandria,
Yes.
you got the bug in Australia.
Yes.
And you're now in Colorado Springs. Is
Yeah.
it limited to those areas? How does this work? I mean, Alexandria is now going to be the center of hip hop? Is that
Right.
how it is, or is there other?
That's right. That's our plan. Alexandria and then Arkansas, where you are. We're coming to you
Excellent.
next.
Yes, we got plenty of land.
Right. No, so that was for me too. Coming back from Melbourne, this was a brand new community for me. I didn't know where to go. So I thought, okay, in my head, New York or LA, right? One of those places. So we had an incredible family that I knew in Orange County who housed me. And that's another story, but went out there and took me a year to meet my first breakdancer, an exchange student from Japan, Ace. And Ace and I start breaking together. And then before I know it, Steve, within a few months, people are telling us they're coming to where we're practicing because they hear music, they see a floor, it draws other breakdancers in. They're like, hey, do you know this spot in Long Beach? Do you know this spot in LA? Here's a spot in Irvine. So we start going to these spots. And before I know it, I'm engaging 200 men on a weekly basis. And I say men, it's not only men. Let me clarify that. It's probably about 95 to 98% men. So I usually use that. There are women breakers, though, B girls, and they're really good. But was in LA.
I'm not one of them. Just
Amber's
so you
not
know,
one.
not a B girl.
Didn't run in our family. But in LA, I started hearing and getting these messages from other people from all over the world, and started to get more familiar with the hip hop community, and started to see really within every major city in the world, and I mean every one, there is this underground community of people actively engaging in hip hop and in breakdancing. And so I moved to Dallas from there and engaged the community there, hundreds of people. Moved up to Chicago. I met my wife in Dallas, Ellen. We've been married for almost 12 years. That's where we met. We moved up to Chicago, and the community is huge in Chicago. I started getting messages from Nairobi in Kenya, Kyiv in Ukraine. So now we're all over the world because this community truly is in every major city. And so, yes, Colorado Springs, Denver, we're engaging. We're launching chapters in Argentina, Morocco, Spain, all of these places. So it is literally everywhere.
So all of these different places, since you can't be everywhere, there's somebody that usually steps up.
Yes.
Is that fair? There's somebody that kind of takes the reins. Some of them might have been the ones that most people doubted the most, right? Would that be fair to say? Yeah. So somebody's thinking, man, I would love to start a chapter in my area.
Right. What happens next? So what happens next, Steve, is
Sean.
or I'm sorry, Sean. I said, I'm sorry, Sean. That's yeah.
Listen, don't call me late for lunch, right?
Sean, so we get that, we get that message, we get that person reaching out to us. The first thing we start to do, we want to hear their story. Like you said, often it's, I have felt forgotten, I have felt alone. And that's usually the desire. Most of the people are in the hip hop community already. That's the desire to go in, is that this is a community where you can feel known. And then for many too, it's my faith, right? And my belief in the gospel, and my faith in God is also a very big part of me. And again, to be able to start to walk with them through connecting this, you were made for these things. You were made to be known in community. So currently, who is your community, right? Who are you with? And then, so we raise up a team because we want to do this together with others. So who else in your life could join you in this? As you start to engage more the hip hop community, who may also could be a part of this. So we want to raise up a team. we call them fire teams. That's first. Then also what we're calling family sessions. And this is the hip hop community is already meeting in these cities. So that's great. So we go, we get to know them, but then we want to draw them into something a little different and more intimate, right? Something that is based in the gospel, something where you can be more fully known, because even though, Sean, like these communities exist, the number of men I talk to who are deeply ingrained in hip hop, who have hundreds of people in their life, they say, I don't feel known, right? I still don't feel known. I feel very much alone. And so these family sessions are an area where they can come in and be more deeply known, start to hear the gospel more, start to see the family of God. And we believe as that is strengthened, that too will strengthen the nuclear family. So that's it. Who are you? What's your story? Who's your team? Let's help build that. And then who can you reach in your community? And that'd be the family session.
So in order to come to one of the sessions, the communities, the chapters, you're not going to make me have to dance at the door to get in, are you? Could I come in even though, could I show up just because I love the word and I feel like I'm a little bit of an outcast and I can hang out with other outcasts?
Yeah. And I would say for the most part, right, John? So every once in a while, maybe not, maybe they will have you like break at the door, this community, but no, for the most part. And I've had a few people, not many, come into these sessions. Yes. And truly it's not about the dance. It is about the heart. And there are dancers that come in, just with hearts that are, selfish, prideful, all about them, insecure, right? And that is known. So they could be the best dancer in the world, but communally, that's not who they want. And then someone walking in, Sean, say you come in, right? You come into our spot in Colorado Springs next week. You come in and you be warmly accepted. And
that's the point, is that
it.
Ballet or tap, the reason people dance is because they've got a gift, but they don't mind being in front of the room, but they don't want to be seen as the front of the room. That's
good. Yes.
And that's where they lose that identity of we're all introverts. The three of us are introverts.
Very much. Yes.
We're introverts.
Yes.
But we do this because there's a bigger calling on our heart.
Exactly.
So even if you're not hip hop, I bet if you can dance and not, stumble on your toes, you could do any kind of dance and teach other skills. So it's about discipline. And that's, I think, what you give a gift of, is to be able to open your heart to the discipline of the word. And that's different. So
yes.
And it gives the physiology to be able to incorporate that. Raised Catholic, we just sat there and we did a lot of up and down and kneeling in calisthenics. It was kind of hip hop, but it was hop up, hop down, hop up, hop down. We didn't move a whole lot. So
that's true. It's a good point. But yes, you're right. And if I could share, and I'll share can I share one quick story on that? Yeah.
Listen, so you're running the show. I'm just.
And I'll share this in Alexandria. So if anyone's listening in Alexandria, you'll hear this 2 or 3 times. But this was really powerful for me. I'm teaching a class. I normally don't, but teaching a class of teenagers for 10 weeks. We call it the art of breakdancing. And they're coming in. None of them have ever done any kind of breakdancing before. So we come in, and in breaking, there's something called a cipher, which everyone knows. It's the dance circle, right? So at a wedding, at different events, the circle forms, right? And for most people, what's their biggest fear? It's, I'm not getting in the circle, right? I don't want to be in the circle. So I did an exercise with these students, and we did a cipher. There's 16 students standing around, and I said, all right, let's go. This was week 2, so they didn't know much. 2 people went out, just 2, briefly, very briefly. And then I had them turn around. So we call it a blind cipher, so no one sees you. And so then I said, all right, now we're going to do this again. And everyone went out. I said, for 10 seconds, everyone went. We talked afterwards. And we said, okay, what was scary about stepping out, right? Well, I'm going to be judged. I'm insecure. I don't know what I'm doing, right? So that's the fear. But then I said, how did it feel when nobody was watching you? And they said, that didn't feel good either. I could go out and I could dance, but they said there was no connection with other people. There was no connection. And so that right there, right? These kids may never breakdance again, but at the end of these 10 weeks, I want them to live in this tension, right? Of they were made, right, to be in that community, right? We were made in the image of God, you know, and he is a God who's been in community from eternity past, Father, Son, and Spirit. That's what we're made for, to be known by him and others. But, right, with sin coming in, brokenness coming in, we are fearful to be known, and we live in this tension. Whether you're a Christian or not, right, you live in this tension. I want to be known, and I'm scared of being judged, right? And so if I can get these kids, and again, anyone on this call, to continue to think about that and to continue to examine what fears are holding me back. Why aren't I really going after these things? Right. And so that, like you said, Sean, it's not about breakdancing and coming into these spaces, and with any kind of dance or really anything where you are in front of people, right? We wrestle with this truth. And so I'm with you. I'm seeing it in the lives of these kids. And my hope is that these kids may never break dance again, but to continue to live that out in their lives. That's what I want to see.
So kind of a tail end question.
Yeah.
What happens to the kids? I know this is the target is that older, mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
The kids today who are disconnected from their parents, have you seen where the connection, the family, speak strongly about the connection. Do you see where the connection starts to get some more light in it as kids go through the program?
I do. And again, I think it really goes back to not just about the dance, right? But it really can connect families, and parents have an opportunity to step into something they may not be familiar with, you know, and one, encourage their kids, engage the kids on that level, right? Into something they're not familiar. And I think that the child as well is getting a better understanding of the importance of that relationship and community and stepping into who you really are. And so we have seen that strengthen. And a lot of times, Sean, Amber, like we are working with the parent, and that's helpful. But sometimes we are working with kids. And not sure if you knew this, but breakdancing's in the Olympics in 2024. And so there's like kind of this movement among the youth now where this is a really great communal and fun dance, but now there's even bigger visions attached to it. And to see how that can bring, like you said, a calling, a bigger vision can bring you outside of yourself. And even that we've seen help restore and bring families together.
That's so awesome. How do people connect with you, find you? Where do they go? What do you send them to? Somebody, is there a website?
Sure. Yep. So there's a website, anything with Break Free, Sean and Amber, there's a lot of Break Frees out there, right? Like a lot of different. So 2024, think of that. Break Free 2024 will get you to our website that you can jump onto our mailing list. We send out emails every 2 weeks, hear about what's going on in the world through Break Free, hear stories, get asks like, hey, you can pray with us, you can partner with us, all of these things. That'll take you as well to our Instagram, our Facebook. If you're thinking, man, how do they connect breaking with their faith? Our Instagram is a great place for that. And so Break Free 2024, that'll unlock the breakdance ministry world for you.
I love it. And I'm moved to share this. So I would love to participate with my skill sets of personal undevelopment and helping to people rewire the way that they've seen their old story. I'd love to be part of your faculty. So,
Sean, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, whatever I can do, weekly Zoom calls or whatever, because
wow,
you've got a big rock to lift. I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to lift that with you, and I'll be
wow. Well, Sean, wow. I'm like, yeah, my mind is racing with that. Yep. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. It was meant to be, you know. I'll break something if I dance, but I'll if I got to do it at the door, I'll do it at the door, because this is a mission worthwhile, and
wow,
bringing it to the world.
Wow. Well, and thank you, Sean, so much for that. And Amber, thank you for this idea and this opportunity, and always being so supportive too. Amber is too. I know I mentioned Steve and Linda, but my mom and sister have been rock stars and have walked with me every step of the way. And so
You know,
it's been,
I talked to Mom a couple of times.
yeah,
What an amazing soul. And
she is.
I'm surprised that between knowing you and knowing a little bit about your childhood and knowing your sister a little bit, I'm just surprised she still can stand with all of the wonderful opportunities of dealing with stress that the two of you brought upon.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom is a very traditional, you get a job that you work this to this, and there's your security, and
You both have done
and
that.
she has Michael.
Right.
Both starting with visions of accounting, actually, both of
Yeah,
us.
that's right.
Here we
That's
are.
right. Yeah, I didn't even put that together. That's true.
Yeah.
And just different paths.
Michael, I'm going to turn it back over to Amber to let
Great.
her to wrap it up. And so it's an honor and a privilege. And
Mm.
again, please, let's figure out what I can do to participate in
Mm.
what I do well is personal undevelopment, undoing what's been
Wow.
done to you through the idea of neuroencoding and brain training. So be happy to help and be a part of that.
Wow. Well, thank you, Sean. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
And I thank you as well. That means a lot. Yes, Daniela, I was tearing up when Sean said that.
Wow.
Wasn't expecting that. So one of my favorite parts, Michael, of being a part of your ministry since 2004,
Yeah.
2005, is being able to be involved. So you're a ministry.
Yes.
People can obviously give you money. It takes money to run these things. My favorite piece of how to give is when we get to pray. When you connect with Michael with Break Free, he does newsletters, and he'll spotlight different people, whether it's supporters or breakers, and we get to hear their stories. And I'm such a small town Minnesota girl. Saying B-boy sounds so foreign and just saying it. There's a B-boy, there's a breaker that I have been praying for since the beginning, almost since the beginning.
Yeah.
And having that honor, sitting here in Alexandria, Minnesota, and having that honor to be praying for this breaker who has questions, who's hurt and pain, and from his past, from his growing up, he has questions and still does. And one of the things that I'm most proud of my brother is where he meets people where they're at without judgment, never with judgment. I remember Michael got to speak at our FCA Christmas breakfast. Wow, like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And his message to those high school kids were, it's great. You can invite friends to church and you can meet them where they're at. And that's how I describe Michael, when I talk about how proud I am of him, because he is going to all corners of the world. So yeah, to get involved with this amazing ministry, you can pray, you can give, and it can be very specific. Michael can connect you with a breaker to be praying for, and their family.
Yes. Yes. And Amber, and thanks one for saying that, Amber. And that's something we're really going to highlight in Alexandria, is we're going to highlight specific teams and cities and people, and to say, hey, thank you for supporting Break Free, right? Big picture, but there is the power of the one, right? We want you to feel more and more connected with what is happening, and to realize that this isn't just a give and take, right? Generosity is a partnership. And we really want that and desire that. So yes, if people are saying, yeah, how do we partner in a small town in Minnesota or Arkansas or other, parts of this country or world? I mean, there are so many ways, and it is a blessing for both. And that is our hope and our prayers, that it would be a blessing for both. That's our desire, is that. So, and thanks for saying that, Amber. That's really kind of you. And I pray that is communicated to all of our partners. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So local Alexandria friends and family, Michael's going to be at Common Ground from 4 to 6 on Sunday. I'm going to be making your coffee.
Yeah.
Anyone who
all right.
knows me, I don't drink coffee. I don't know how to make coffee. Nathan and I don't have a coffee pot in our house because neither one of us
Yes.
like coffee. Oh, wait, that's not a good draw. I mean, I make really good
She's
coffee.
great. Great barista right there. Yes.
Bill's going to train me. Bill Jarvie at Common Ground is
Oh.
blessing Michael's ministry, letting us come in. So
Yeah.
thank you, Michael. Sean, thank you so much. Two really important men sitting on this screen in my life. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And hope to see all of you local people on Sunday.
Yes. Thanks, Amber. Thanks, Sean.
All right, everyone. Live well.